Right, so this video I'm just going to go over the graphs, right? So graphing is the opposite of getting the equation from the graph, right? So you're given an equation, how do you graph it, right? So for number one here, basically what you need to do with that is just divide everything by 2. So y is equal to 3 over 2x plus 3, right? And just watch out, if this is a negative, then it will affect all the other, and don't forget to divide that constant by 2 as well, right? So basically what you do is you start at 3, so 1, 2, 3, that's your y-intercept. This is in slope y-intercept form. That's the easiest one to graph, okay? And it was just not quite there yet. So what you do there is you go, it's a positive slope, so it's 1, 2, 3 of a rise, and 2 is your run. Do one more, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Using a ruler, just go ahead and connect them and go right across your grid, okay? There you have it. So, and label your x-axis, your y-axis, arrowheads. 0, 4 is your starting point, and that's all I would ask for. And then of course, make sure the equation is labeled. All right. So that's that for number 2. That is what? That is in slope point form. So the slope is -4 over 5, and the starting point is for positive -3. Okay, because this is your x1 comes out positive, is your y1 comes out negative. So 4, -3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. There's your negative. So you start at 4, -3, and then use your slope. It's a negative slope, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you run out of runway, you do the opposite, right? You go up 4, back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you should see that it lines up, and it should be down to the right. Okay, so you do that. You label this point 4, -3. You write down you label the equation, and away you go, right? So, all right, so that's number 2. Number 3, what form is that in? Not general. General is when it's equal to 0. It's in standard form. So what we're going to do is just rewrite it. So I'm very limited in space here. Well, what I'm going to do is, right, this is very doable. Right? You can just do that. I will do that on the side here. You normally would want to do it nicely on loose leaf, right? So let me grab a piece of paper here, and I'm just going to say 3x plus 2y is equal to 6, right? I'm going to rewrite it into slope intercept because that's just the easiest to do, easiest to graph, and they don't give you specifications on that, right? So essentially, your equation turns out to be this, right? If you do the math and you rewrite it, so -3 over 2 plus 3. So we go 1, 2, 3, and it's a negative slope, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Sorry, couldn't even see that. Let's do it again. 0, 3, right? And then it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's actually your x-intercept right there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I will grab my ruler. If you have to do this by hand, that's fine. X and Y labeled. And the equation of this line is -3 over 2x plus 3. So it doesn't really matter which one you use to label, and we will label our y-intercept as well. And so that's your line there. Number four. Number four is also looking, that looks like standard form, right? No problem. So number four, 5x minus 2y is equal to 10. It would be negative 2y is equal to negative 5x plus 10. You divide everything by negative 2. Y is equal to 5 over 2x minus 5. Easiest one to graph. So that would be negative 5 is my y-intercept, and it's a positive slope where the rise is 5 and the run is 2. So I'm starting at negative 5. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's my starting point. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. That's my x-intercept, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. And they line up. And you graph your line. 0, negative 5 here. This is 5 over 2x minus 5. Arrowheads, x and y is labeled. If you need to use a scale, right, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, and label every fifth or so if you're doing this by hand on paper. And so this is question number 4. It's a positive slope, right? And then we have 5 and 6 to do. So question 5 has it's an interesting look to it, right? So that'd be 1/2. Wonder if that's a negative. Now let's say it's positive. And so negative half y is equal to 2 minus x. This is almost like a slope intercept form. Let's just clean it up a bit, right? It'd be negative x plus 2, but we don't like this there. So what we do is we multiply this side by 2 and this whole side by 2 here. That cancels, so it's y is equal to negative 2x plus 4. Okay, so then negative 2, right? Your slope is negative 2 over 1, and your y-intercept is 0, 4 positive. So that's your starting point. So 0, 4, 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, x-intercept again. You should be prepared to answer that if I give you a graph. What's the x-intercept? Look it up. If you can't, right, know exactly, you can come up with the equation using the y-intercept and then just let y equal to 0 on your equation and then figure out algebraically, right? So this would be negative 2x plus 4. That's labeled 0, 4 here. Their starting point, x and y labeled arrowheads and so forth, right? And number 6, we have what form is that? I'm going to do that here. What form is 6? And that's a slope point, 1/2 x plus 3, right? So the slope is 1/2 positive, and the point would be negative 3, positive 1. So that's your starting point when it's in point slope, right? And so it's 1, 2, 3, and then 1. So negative 3, 1 is my starting point. It's a positive slope, so it's a rise of 1, run of 2. Rise of 1, run of 2. There are your 3 points. And in this case, you don't have an exact. If you wanted to read this off, you would be estimating that y-intercept. So do not, if you can't clearly know what the y-intercept is, then you have to pick a point that is clearly on there, which is negative 3, 1, right? And so then you would write this as x plus 3 like that. So make sure you know how to read the equation from the line as well, okay? All right, that's it for this review. Page 388, right? If you want more, page 388 is it reviews the whole chapter, and I'll see what else I have to send out. But I needed you to work through this and have a pretty good idea, an overall knowledge of everything. All right, take care. Have a good weekend if you're watching this before the weekend.